live stream where I talk about addiction, recovery, and everything in between. My name is James, and I'm sober. Hello, Sean, Julie. Tonight we're going to talk about Alcoholics Anonymous online meetings in this time of quarantine and social distancing. How are we to make these 12-step meetings of fellowship gatherings? Alcoholics Anonymous, in case you didn't know, is a 12-step, damn near 100-year-old program of recovery from alcoholism, but it has been and can be used for cessation of any kind of addiction, drugs, sex, gambling. It's basically, well, let's not get into that right now. Let's not get into drugs, sex, and gambling right about now. Let's talk about alcoholism. Alcoholism and Alcoholics Anonymous. Bill W. and Dr. Bob wrote this book in 1939 and basically founded the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. It has become worldwide since then. The book, the first 164 pages of the big book haven't changed except for one thing, and that's the word God. They've changed it to God of your understanding. So we can talk about that in a minute, but the first 164 pages have stayed the same, which to me, there is no doubt that AA is what got me sober and didn't get me sober. I worked it and it worked for me because I worked it. It says it works if you work it. One second, let me make sure these your chat box, you all's chat box is up and running. There it is. Hey, Holly Ford. Come on in, everybody. Have a seat. Make yourself at home. Tonight we're going to be talking about the online 12-step resources for you, for me, for anyone with the desire to stop drinking. Now, those of you who know me know that Alcoholics Anonymous is the program that I consider to be my higher power. I identify as an agnostic, which means I don't disbelieve in God, but I also don't believe in God, and I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for that motherfucker to show up. That's all. Now, the first link I'm going to post is a link to aa/intergroup.org. This will take you to options for Alcoholics Anonymous meetings online. Whoops. Now, the good thing about checking out AA online is that you don't have to leave your house. I don't know about you, but when I was deciding on sobriety, I was shook. I didn't want to leave my house. I didn't want to go to a room full of strangers, and I didn't want anybody hugging me or touching me or holding hands or anything like that. All that shit you see on the movies and the TV shows, that's not necessarily true. If you want to check out AA, you got to get up and do it yourself, one foot in front of the other. You got to do the damn thing. Now, the thing about the time we're living in right now is AA has, along with a lot of other services in the world, gone digital, and you can get on Zoom, Skype, Facebook chat, Samsung chat, all that, Apple, FaceTime, whatever. Well, mostly on Zoom. Now, that link I just posted will lead you to the AA official online intergroup site. There you'll find means and methods and choices. You can literally go to any Alcoholics Anonymous meeting virtually at any time. There's some on there that are ongoing 24/7 meetings. People come and go. I still haven't checked it out. I still haven't checked one of those out, but it's pretty interesting to think that there's a meeting going 24/7. But there is no excuse to not check out AA, because you can go in there without a camera, without your camera on. You can go in there without your microphone on, and you can just watch people. The only requirement for being at an AA meeting is a desire to stop drinking. It's not against the law to be in there if you don't have a desire to stop drinking, but it's frowned upon. It's not suggested. There's open meetings, there's closed meetings, there's all kinds of meetings. There's gay, bi, trans, lesbian meetings, there's black meetings, there's white meetings, there's black and white meetings, there's just people meetings, there's meetings where you can bring your dog. Alcoholics Anonymous is a worldwide institution that there's one requirement to be a member, and that is the desire to stop drinking. Its equivalent is Narcotics Anonymous. I've been to a few. I decided that Alcoholics Anonymous was more my jam. There's subtle differences to each, but I'm sure NA has their website as well. Is there a needy white girl meeting? Yes, I'm sure there is a needy white girl meeting, Holly. I believe that's called a regular AA meeting. I'm just kidding. What up, Mike Tucker? What up, Sean Leary Music? Are you related to Dennis Leary Music? What up, Chris S? How you doing? AA saved my life. I have a AA speaker playlist. Another option for online recovery is AA speaker tapes. Now, you may be asking yourself, especially if you're a millennial, what the hell is a tape? Well, a tape, or a cassette, is a prehistoric device used to play music and or recordings, audio recordings. An AA speaker tape is a recording of a recovered alcoholic sharing what happened, what it was like when they were drinking, what happened, and what it's like now, or their story. They call them speaker tapes because they used to be tapes, then they were CDs, and now they're digital files. And I have a couple of them on my channel, and I'll go ahead and post the link to that playlist. What up, Frank Perez? I'm getting you through this journey. Well, I'm happy to hear that, Frank. That is what keeps me going every single day. Thank you. That's touching. I like that. When you can't do anything else, Frank, or anybody else, just keep coming back to whatever you find recovery in. And that is usually some medium, some form of gathering, fellowship. AA meetings was mine. I have a home group. I meet online with my home group, and we'll talk about this in a minute, there is a unfortunate phenomenon happening right now where I don't see the same people at the digital meeting, the Zoom meeting, that I did at the physical home group meeting. And I'm not there as often either. So there is something going on right now as far as some people just don't want to become transitioned into the Zoom era. It's just like most of us don't want to accept that there's a new world going on right now. Now you may say to yourself, James, you always wear the perfect shirts. Well, I did it on purpose because we alcoholics and addicts, we tend to be introverted, we tend to isolate. Going to physical meetings is hard. That's why they say meeting makers make it, because we have to be reminded to get up off of our ass, get out of our isolation, walk out the door and go to a physical meeting. I wore this shirt today because we don't have to do that anymore. Because even if this COVID thing is cured tomorrow, I still believe that online Zoom meetings are still going to keep going because they really are that convenient. They really are that good. So I would like to hear some of you all's experience and maybe plans to go to AA meetings. And I want to know if you clicked on that link I just sent you and if you're trying AA meetings. Mike Tucker, in August I'll have 8 months and I ain't relapsing this time. That's what Mike says. That's a good plan, Mike. But try to do it just for today. There's one thing we can control, and that's the present moment. So stay sober just for today. Yeah, it is good to see you, Oceanside. It's good to see you, Sean.
Wow, I feel good.
Noel, good to see you, Noel, if you're out there. Go ahead, open up the chat, Noel or Nowell. And kick some flavor in our ears. Hey, it's Murd. What up, Murd? Feeling good, very good, enjoying this thing called sobriety. Murd, you want to call in? You want to call in, Murd? Share some of that positivity? Murd, you have some experience with AA, don't you? Your dad is a member, long-term, to my understanding. Paul, thank you. Paul McKenna just joined the crew, everyone. Mike Tucker said, alcohol makes me do embarrassing shit. Me too, Mike. I wonder if we've ever been in the same place at the same time, drinking the same alcohol, doing the same embarrassing shit, and we just don't remember because we were in the same damn blackout. All of you who are subscribing and hitting the bell for notifications, thank you. Here's a link for my Patreon if you would like to join the community and have access to a 24/7 recovery room chat. In there I keep it clean, I keep it non-toxic, and we keep it real and we keep it light. And most of all, we just keep sober. Together. Sean Rouse, what up? Going to stay doing Zoom meetings. I also do a Zoom meeting for my patrons every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey, look, it's Heather. Of course it's Heather. Hello, Heather. That could be, Mike. It certainly could be. Sean, what are you talking about? You stay doing Zoom meetings. Oh, you're talking if and when. I saw a meme today that was like, the phrase, when this COVID thing is over, is starting to sound like when I win the lottery. And that was depressing as shit because it was true. COVID thing. You know, this COVID thing really put a damper on my life. Like, here I am having a perfectly good life, or getting perfectly good. Here I am just now, we're just doing our life thing, and all of a sudden, boom, COVID's gonna ruin the generation. We're only alive for 60, 70 years if we're lucky. COVID's gonna come splat that right in the middle of, I mean, can't you just ruin another generation? COVID? Of course, we could have been back when Black Plague. Symptoms of the Black Plague included, but were not limited to, black boils on your armpits and genitals. That was the Black Plague. Nobody told you that, did they? You're welcome. I have mint tea, Tonight, Chris, tea and honey. It's hot and hydrating. So, typical AA meetings. Raise your hand if you've been to an AA meeting. Or speak up if you haven't. Are you interested in going? If you're not, why not? What have you heard? What do you want to know? COVID is depressing because it just is. But on the plus side, I was an introvert before COVID hit. I was doing this thing before COVID hit. Everybody's like, oh man, I gotta stay in my house and watch Netflix. And I'm like, yeah, if you're interested, I have some tips and on how to do so. Sean is not interested. Mind if I ask why, Sean? Mike says these dark periods of time usually bring positive things as well. They help decadent cultures refocus. Damn, dropping words like decadent over here, Mike. What do you mean by that? Sean says my only exposure to AA meetings is Zoom and rehab, so I have nothing else to compare it to. Those are pretty good. Rehab is pretty good. In drug and alcohol treatment, aka rehab, they take you to a lot of AA meetings. That should tell you something right there. I often say if you want to know what the truth is, follow the money. Well, you can pay up to $60,000 or more for some of these rehabs, and what do? Every single one of them has one thing in common, and that's 12-step meetings. Unless it's one of these places that their demographic is anti-12-step meeting seekers. Good, Sean. You sound like you're gonna do all right if you do meetings every day. Priorities do change in these times. I'm liking, Mike, I'm liking this thing this time. People are too materialistic, but I am too. I'm materialistic. I don't know what you mean by that, Mike. I like my materials. I'm a material girl in a material world. Material. Know what I'm saying? I like my materials, Mike. Without my materials, you wouldn't be seeing me and I wouldn't be seeing you. And you wouldn't be hearing me and you wouldn't be typing to me either. Everything you're expressing this materialistic opinion on, Mike, is due to the materials that are allowing it. So be careful when you talk about my materials like that, Michael. My precious materials. Of course we love materials. What? Without materials, would it just be us? I don't like people that much at all. I need some materials to distract me from people. Material things are fine, but they are out of balance. I can get on board with this discussion, Mike, but we might get off at different stops, is all I'm saying. Murd, what's up with you and materialism? Mike, would you like to call in, brother? Tell us how you've done your almost 8 months of sobriety. Relationships are more important. Yeah, how's your lady doing, Mike? Yeah, without a relationship, who would you have to buy materials for? You couldn't, I mean, you need a relationship if you want somebody to buy, things for. That is a good point. I'm kidding, Mike. I know exactly what you mean. In fact, I have just recently joined the elite standings of the relationship demographic. I too am in a relationship. I have relations with a wonderful human being. And I've joined the ranks. So I know what you're saying, Mike. NRS, thoughts on being only a cannabis smoker without alcohol? Do people think you must be 100% sober? Well, no, people don't. Well, yes, people do think that, but not every person on earth thinks any. So some people think that and some people don't. Here's the deal, NRS. Every person is different and every addiction is different, and therefore every recovery is different. I tried smoking weed, and this was years back when I was in school, and not in high school. I was trying to go to college and smoke weed and not drink. I ended up, well, I got a quarter pound of weed. I wanted to sell some of it and smoke some of it, and I ended up smoking every last gram of that shit. I smoked it and didn't sell any of it. Why? Because I'm an addict. I'm an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic and addict, and my mind wants to smoke that shit. And when I was at school and not home smoking it, I was thinking about going home and smoking it because I'm an addict. Now that was a different part of my life. Lately I've been thinking maybe I can smoke weed. Maybe I could, do a little weed smoking. Why do I think that? Because I'm a freaking addict. That's why. The real, now 100% sober. Sober is a funny word because you might argue that you're 100% sober, but you do a little meth here and there. You're sober from alcohol, but you're clean. Or maybe you're clean off meth, but you're sober from alcohol. But me, personally, I obsess over anything. I obsess over anything mind altering, and I get high off of being high. So even, in years past, when I try to go back to maybe a little marijuana maintenance is what they call it, NRS. What you're talking about has a name in the recovery community, and it's called marijuana maintenance. Cannabis casuality. Casuality? I don't know. But it has been thought of before and it has been tried before. Here's what an old timer will tell you. If you think you can do it, go do it. And see what happens. Because there is one thing that I have experienced in my years of drinking and failing and recovering and relapsing and all that. It has taken every drunk and every high to get me where I am today, because I never would have took your word for it if you told me cannabis does work, cannabis doesn't work. I had to try it myself. We addicts tend to be a stubborn breed, a stubborn people. We have to try it ourselves, even if that might mean death, Now here's the deal. Nobody's ever OD'd from marijuana. However, when I was smoking that QP, it got to where I couldn't get higher anymore, and I just smoked and smoked and smoked. I couldn't smoke it fast enough, so I discovered you can trip off of Ambien. So I took some Ambien, I stayed up, and now I'm tripping and smoking. Tripping and smoking, and it wasn't longer before I wound up at a strip club, relapsing on booze and Xanax. Because it's a slippery slope. We're addicts. To each their own. I'm sure some people out there have a marijuana maintenance plan that works for them. But at the time, and it was like 2013, something around there, 2014. It didn't work for me because I wasn't done running. I wasn't done trying. The crossfade is dangerous, Sean says. the HD Vision, according to an MC named Logic. High and drunk vision. HD Vision. NRS, thank you for such a detailed answer. You're welcome, NRS. You can thank me by pledging to my Patreon. Now you owe me something. And if you don't, you will feel guilty for the rest of your days. I'm just kidding. I just think it would be pretty swell if you became my 78th patron. I'm starting to... I've had hope from the beginning that this can and will be my living. This is what my life has turned into. I got sober 5 years ago, and 2 years ago I made a recovery channel, and now I do this every day at 9 and make videos, and I started a Patreon, and I'm making t-shirts, and I'm doing the damn thing, living the damn dream, and I really kind of set out to do it. Now I got 77 patrons, and I'm about halfway financially to being able to, do this for a living. So I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Oh my God, I just threw up a little in my mouth. I just had a very fine meal with a very fine lady, so I hope you'll excuse me. Well, thank you for being here, Sean. Running with the devil. Cheers to each and every one of you. And by cheers, I mean the UK version, not the cheers version. Alcoholics Anonymous, I heard a couple of you say, I'm never going over my dead body. Well, it may just be over your dead body, because meeting makers make it. And you might say to yourself, I've heard all that bullshit. Don't spit that cult jargon on me, James. Well, I don't really care. I don't really care what you say. Does Heather know about this fine lady, Mike Tucker says? Well, due to the fact that I cannot come up with a witty quip, I'm just going to say she is the fine lady, Mike Tucker. She is laughing in the background as we speak. Heather, would you like to say hello to the internet? Would y'all like to meet my fine lady that I'm talking about? Diane Jenner, thank you for keeping me sober for this moment. You're welcome, Diane. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, hello.
Hello, Heather. This is Heather. I wouldn't have met her if I never got sober. And we just ate a good... What'd you have to eat tonight?
Was that the bacon wrap tenderloin?
Bacon wrap tenderloin. That's that sober shit, y'all. Mm-hmm. And I had some... What did I have?
You had barbecued spare ribs.
Barbecue spare ribs. Broccolini. See, when you get sober, you don't eat broccoli.
Broccolini.
When you get sober, you eat that broccolini bougie shit.
Yeah, with mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes.
Mm-hmm. With horseradish dressing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was good.
It was good. Yeah. You're spoiling me tonight.
We live that good life when we get sober. All right, toots. Let me do my thing.
I know.
All right.
Side chick to all this.
Well, I mean, do you can weigh in on some? You can weigh in on some Alcoholics Anonymous.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm good. I'm gonna go back to reading my book.
She'll come back some other time.
Well, thanks.
Don't worry, there'll be plenty of Heather, unless you get out of line. I'm just kidding. I gotta stay in line. What, are you kidding me? I'm gonna do everything I can to keep that one. Holly says hi, Heather. And so does Chris Murd. Ingrid says hi. Live my life like there's no tomorrow. Do you know that? Do you know that riff, Mike? Can y'all name the video where Mike Tucker jams out in the end of the video? I'm sure, Mike, you can. Yeah, we're glad you're here, Diane. Usually I'm talking about recovery and sobriety and everything in between, but I had to take a minute to show off my beautiful and wonderful and intelligent girlfriend. Sometimes we just have to enjoy what sobriety has delivered. But Diane, we're all glad you're here. Tonight I'm talking about online AA. AA is my higher power. Why? Because they are a power greater than me and greater than alcoholism. I'm powerless over alcohol, so I needed a power greater than myself. What was that to me? Alcoholics Anonymous. What does that mean? That means instead of using my own bright ideas that got me drunk and in jail and in the hospital, I started using Alcoholics Anonymous suggestions. Go to meetings. Work the 12 steps. Work with others. None of this shit I wanted to do on my own. I didn't want to do it even after they suggested it, but I did it anyway, and that was 4.5 years ago, and now I've been sober ever since. It's a power greater than myself. Isaiah, the tropical storm, huh, Mike? What is the date? The 30th of July. AA also has various literature, one of which is the Daily Reflections. Today is July 30th, and they have a daily reflection for each day of the year. Today is called Giving Back. He has struck something better than gold. He may not see at once that he has barely scratched the limitless load, which may pay dividends only if he minds it for the rest of his life and insists on giving away the entire product. Don't run away. This ain't the Bible. And no offense to you Bible thumpers out there, because the Bible's got a lot of wisdom, strength, and hope in it too. To each their own. But Alcoholics Anonymous is literature for alcoholics and addicts. My part of the seventh tradition means so much more than just giving money to pay for the coffee. The seventh tradition is the basket that goes around. You can choose to donate $1 or $2. You can choose to donate however much you want. Or you can choose to just pass it right by you. For all you naysayers that say AA is looking for money, that is false. You do not have to, it costs you nothing. But this person is explaining why the seventh tradition. The seventh tradition is there are no dues or fees, but we do have to keep the lights on and we have to pay rent for the meeting places. So please give if you can. In the gist of it. It means being accepted for myself by belonging to a group. For the first time, I can be responsible because I have a choice. I can learn the principles of working out problems in my daily life by getting involved in the business of AA, by being self-supporting. I can give back to AA what AA gave to me. Giving back to AA not only ensures my own sobriety, but allows me to buy insurance that AA will be here for my grandchildren. It's all about, giving back. AA gave me my life. It gave me ideas. It gave me principles to follow when I had none. It gives me a place to go every Monday and Thursday, or even every day if I wanted to. You can find multiple meetings, multiple days of the year. Every day there's a meeting somewhere. Why is it that I don't crave alcohol now but get pissed that I can't drink? Because you're an alcoholic. To put it bluntly, Sean. That's what my sponsor would tell me. I'd call him and I'd be like, why is it that I'm restless, irritable, and discontent, but I haven't drank in 2 years? And he'd be like, well, you're an alcoholic. We have a thinking problem. Sean, if you call another alcoholic or come on here or get on my Discord where there's multiple other recovering alcoholics that understand exactly what you're talking about and talk to them, that craving, that restless irritability and discontentment disappears. How do I know that? Because that's what AA taught me to do, and I did it, and it worked. That's the thing. You have to be honest, open, and willing. You got to be willing to do the things that are suggested. How do you get sober? You listen to somebody that's sober. And we're not talking sober for a week. We're not even talking sober for a year. 3 years or more, Listen to someone 3 years or more if you want to learn long-term sobriety. How do you invest in the stock market? Listen to Warren Buffett. You know what I mean? Sean says, I had the same feelings today, Sean. And talking to my sponsor and doing a few meetings helped. Talking with other alcoholics. My sponsors and any sponsor I've ever had has suggested I call a recovering alcoholic every day. Talk about how they're doing. Why? I didn't know why, but I found out to get out of my own head. My head is the problem. Sean with a W, your head is a problem. Our alcoholism is a disease of the mind, body, and spirit. The drinking is just a symptom. Once you don't treat the symptom, treat the problem. You treat the problem through the 12 steps of AA. It's very simple. I'll put it to anybody like this. If you do what AA suggests, you will maintain sobriety and be happy. It is that simple. I did it, and I was a hopeless, pathetic, almost dead drunk multiple times in my life. If you listen to what AA, your sponsor, if you get a sponsor, it is suggested that you go to meetings. It is suggested that you get a sponsor. It is suggested that you read the big book. You do those 3 things and keep going with suggestions. Help others. Do some service work. Prayer and meditation is suggested. I'm an agnostic. Who am I praying to? I don't know. But you know what? AA did it, so I do it. I don't do it that often, but when I was early sobriety, I prayed every day. Why? Because my sponsor said, pray. Because you know what? That's what AA says. AA is your higher power. If I did it my way, I'd get drunk again. I did it AA's way. That was 4.5 years ago. I haven't gotten drunk since. And Sean said dry drunk when you said, Sean with a W, you asked why am I so pissed and restless and irritable and discontent. You don't crave alcohol necessarily, but you're pissed and you got an attitude. That's called a dry drunk. That's what people call a dry drunk. You're white knuckling it. You're just going through life, trying not to drink, but you're pissed. The 12 steps of AA, the principles of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, has ways to not only never be obsessed with alcohol again, but be a happy, contributing member of society. Just be a happy individual. What up, Suzus? AA doesn't teach us how to stop drinking. That is done for us as a side thing. So we put down the booze. Last night or the night before, I had a live stream on here called First Things First. The logic behind that is first things first, you put down the booze. Second thing is you pick up the big book. Put down the booze first because you can't do shit if you're still drinking. You're still using. You can't do shit. Why do you pick up the big book? To learn how to live without drinking. It doesn't say, the word alcohol is only in the first half of the first step. The rest is just about life. The word alcohol is only in the first half of the first step. There's 12 steps. You put down the booze first. The majority of everything else is learning how not to be a dry drunk, learning how not to be miserable, learning how not to be restless, irritable, and discontent. What is the byproduct of doing the suggestions of AA? The total opposite of restlessness, irritability, and discontentment. Happiness, joyousness, and freedom. Happiness, joyousness, and freedom. If you're going to be a dry drunk, you're going to be restless, irritable, and discontent, you might as well drink. Every time I relapsed, I would get worse and worse and almost damn near dead. And I may have another relapse in me, but I may not have another recovery in me. So if I'm going to die or go to prison if I drink, I have to stop drinking. So I stopped drinking. Then came the dry drunkenness. I started looking for fulfillment in love and sex, maybe just binging way too hard on the Netflix. I tried online poker. I was filling these voids, and they call that in AA because they still use the word God in AA. They call that trying to fill a God-sized hole with everything but God. God is a huge subject, and I have a video on my channel about is AA a religion, and in short, the answer is no. No, AA is not a religion, and no, you don't have to believe in God. Hey, Diane. Well, thank you, Diane. I will get you the link to the recovery room after this stream. I'll get you the link to the Discord recovery room. That's a 24/7 rolling chat. Any time of any day, you can get on there with me plus 70 other recovering addicts and alcoholics whom have been through this, let's just call it Sober James filter. Let's just call it ain't nobody whack or toxic is up in there. So like no toxicity, no judgment. All we do is recover peacefully. And if you want to come up in there beefing, just call me the butcher, because I'll chop it up and send it packing. Anyway, my point is, I'll get you that link. Diane. Was it Diane? Right after this stream, I'll get you that. Hey, what's up, Paulie? Gabriella, I hope I can once be as strong as you. Let me get you a picture of what I look like in my darkest days. Let me just paint it for you. I've been homeless in a Northeast winter. I've been homeless in a Fort Lauderdale winter and a New York winter. Sleeping on park benches, sheltered, choosing to drink instead of going to. I had family members that were willing to take me in, but I couldn't stop drinking. They weren't going to take me in if I was drinking. I chose to be outside in the snow because I wanted to drink. Plastic bottles of vodka and everything. So if you think I'm strong now, just know that I've been hopeless. Gabriella. I've been hopeless, homeless, without a glimmer of light on any horizon. I've been there. Where you might be feeling that you are today, I've been there. And as recent as 4.5 years ago. Alcoholic hallucinosis, seizures,